Hello and welcome to the 40th season of Football Friday Night. I'm Nate Wimberly, joined by Brandon Hamilton. Regional Final Friday in North Carolina as teams are just one win away from playing for a state championship.
Nate, so we had 5 teams in North Carolina with dreams of getting to the state title game. So would that happen? South of the border, Northwestern will play for the 4A title game tomorrow, and we will have a preview of their matchup with South Florence later in the show.
Yeah, we start tonight with the 4A Western Regional Final as Weddington was at Greensboro Grimsley. Jordan Sawyers was at this one and has the highlights.
In Greensboro tonight, where the Warriors look to punch their ticket to Chapel Hill next week. In the first, Weddington's offense clicking as Tyler Budge hits Evan Gilbert on the slant route. He gets a first down. Then Budge comes back the other way to Brett Williams. Finally, the Warriors strike first as Knox Willingham bullies his way in for a score. But Grimsley would respond in the second on a short run up the middle. This would tie the game. Later in the second, Weddington driving, facing a 4th and 1. Knox Willingham gets the first down to keep the drive alive. That would help set up Budge to Griffin Reimer. Back of the end zone. Warriors back up 7. When the half was over, though, the Whirlies and the Warriors would be tied at 21. In the second, Warriors looking to open up the game. That would have to wait until the fourth quarter. Still tied at 21. Weddington with the gamble on 4th and 7. Budge hits Brett Williams on the slant route, but the Warriors miss the extra point. Would that come back to haunt them? Later in the fourth, Warriors with a chance to extend their lead. The field goal is blocked. Grimsley has it, takes it all the way downfield. That would help set up this go-ahead touchdown. The second effort makes it good. Field goal would be good. Weddington down 1. They would have another opportunity on the final drive in the fourth, under a minute to go, but they just can't come up with it. The Warriors are heading home tonight. They fall 28-27. In Greensboro, I'm Jordan Sawyers for Football Friday Night.
And that was a close one. Let's go down to 2A, the Western Final. It's Burns at Reidsville. And those fans, they're pumped up. That was almost 3-hour drive to Reidsville and packed the stadium out. Okay, so already leading 7-0. The Rams were driving for more. When this pass, it is picked off. That's Johnny Johnson of Burns. This is in the second quarter. Okay, Reidsville, the Rams, with this touchdown, will go up 14-0. That is, nice pass, nice catch. Kendra Harrison on that one. Okay, here's Burns quarterback, Ben Monty. He will hit L.J. Allen on the slant for a big pickup. He's taking him down with him, but they couldn't score at the half. It is 17-0 Reidsville. Third quarter, let's see what can happen here. The second half, they'll open it up for Burns. This is a nice drive, a handoff to Jeremiah Norris. He gets the Bulldogs rolling later in this drive. It's Norris who scores. Give it to him. That's 17-6. Fourth quarter, Reidsville leading 24-6. That's Monty again from the end zone. He'll hit Ryan Thompson, and you got to wrap up, fellas.
Wow.
Breaks the tackles, and he is going to the 40, down to the 50, across to the 40. Okay, so next play, Ben Monty. He'll hit Kari Surratt. That's another nice first down for Burns. Next play, again, if you got a connection, why not go back to it? Surratt will be in the end zone. You throw it up, he's going to grab it. Touchdown. It's all Burns. They'll fall in this one, 32-14.
Time to take our first break here on the show, but still more to come, including the Football Friday Night Game of the Week, South Point at East Lincoln in the 3A Western Regional Final.
Mattress sale is going on now. Get 50% off Sealy mattresses and save up to $400 on Sealy adjustable mattress set.
Time to turn our attention to the football Friday night game of the week, South Point at East Lincoln.
Yeah, neither program is a stranger to this big stage as they have both won state titles in the last 10 years. But you know, these two, they've never met each other in a regional final. Cam Gaskins was at this one, and he joins us live in the studio with all of the highlights. Cam?
Yeah, just like you said, these two programs are very familiar with the big stage, but South Point hasn't won a state title since 2016. East Lincoln hasn't won a title since 2014, so both trying to update that trophy case this season, but you got to win tonight first. East Lincoln comes into this game a perfect 14-0 on the year. Last home game of the season. South Point 13-1, the only loss coming to Kings Mountain. We know how good that team was. And check out the crowd on hand in Denver for this game. Packed stands. First drive, Mustangs marching right down the field. Christopher Daly with the stiff arm. That's a 7-0 lead for the home team. Remember that name. We will be talking about number 8 a little bit later. Still a 7-0 game going into the second half, and then East Lincoln adds to that lead. This time Ben Cutter pounding one in to make it 14-0. Very first play of the next drive, an ill-advised turnover for the Red Raiders. Keandre Walker with the pick. The Mustangs won't be able to turn that into points though, but the defense still has plenty to cheer for. And South Point finally gets on the board in the fourth quarter. Cam Medlock with the fullback keeper. Suddenly, it's a one-score game, and the Raiders have the ball with one final chance to tie it up. Patrick Blee is going to let it fly going deep. Elijah Pfeiffer is there to haul it in. And y'all, this one ain't over yet. Final play of the game, South Point in the red zone, and Ben Cutter comes up with the game-sealing interception, and that sends the Mustangs to Raleigh. Denver, North Carolina is the Mile High City tonight. You will not keep him off the field in this one. East Lincoln heading to its first ever 3A state championship game. Let's check out the football Friday night scoreboard in this one. A tight one, but East Lincoln holds on to win 14-7, and the Mustangs will get one seed Northern Nash in the 3A title game at NC State next Saturday night.
Hey, big time congratulations to East Lincoln there to make the move from 2A to 3A, and now it didn't take long. They're in the state championship game in 3A really kind of quick.
I mean, first time in 3A, the first time being there since 2014. You could see how much it meant to the fans there. I couldn't count how many fans were there, but they were on the berm, they were on the hill, they were piling out of the stands. That community has been waiting a long time to celebrate something like this, and it's great to see them back on top like that.
I was going to say defense.
That's
You know what they say about the defense?
Yep.
It wins championships.
We've reached halftime here on the show, but plenty more to come, including highlights of the 1A Western Regional Final, a preview of the South Carolina 4A state title game tomorrow between Northwestern and South Florence, and we tell you about the state championship matchups next week here in North Carolina. To catch the second half of the show, jump over to WBTV.com/live and these other streaming platforms. We'll see you in a few minutes for the second half of Football Friday Night. Right there. Welcome to the second half of Football Friday Night. Here we go with the final set of highlights in this 2022 season, and it comes from a big surprise team this year, the Draughn Wildcats.
Yeah, Draughn has had their best season ever, most wins in a single season with 13. And the regional final for the first time. Tonight they took on Mount Airy for a spot in the 1A state title game. Steve-O was at this one and has the highlights.
Here we go. Another game with everything on the line.
Somebody's going to end up moving forward and somebody's not.
The Draughn Wildcats from Burke County with their best season ever in their 14 years. Up against powerhouse Mount Airy. They've been winning championships since Herbert Hoover was president. But Draughn came to play, or so it seemed on their first play. That's Nigel Dula. Could he go all the way? No. Despite the field position, Draughn came up empty-handed. The Granite Bears had a big play early, too. That's Tyler Mason, over 1,800 yards rushing this year, add 84 and a TD to that. Next possession for Mount Airy, just give it to Tyler Mason. Again, same result, 14-0. The Draughn faithful getting concerned. Every time the Wildcats had a big play, here's one, Nigel Dula on the screen. Though he gets into Mount Airy territory, the drive stalls once again. The Granite Bears, though, watch this block. Ouch! They have Tyler Mason, and yup, he scores again. No stopping him, it seems. Well, this did. Will Price ends a Granite Bear drive with a tip drill INT. Second half, though, Mason picked up where he left off. This time, 86 yards on the carry. Well over 2,000 on the season now. Draughn was ice cold. And when Tyler Mason did it once again, well, this was over. The Wildcats did avoid a shutout. Nigel Dula stretching for the TD, but that was all they had to cheer about on this night. The Wildcats season is over. Mount Airy wins 35-6. In Mount Airy, Steve Onosorge for Football Friday Night.
A tough loss there for Draughn, but nothing to hang your head about. They had a great season, and that Nigel Dula kid, he's coming back next year. He'll be back. Eli Tillery, the quarterback, starting quarterback, he'll be back next year. So Draughn's going to be just fine. They got to do some work on the offensive line. They have some seniors up there, but they get that line figured out, and Draughn will be right back again, guys. So don't. I'm not going to make that mistake.
I was going to say, they're going to keep the receipts. They're going to know.
Draughn will be back in next season.
Better not hear anything about we don't have any 1A teams next year under this guy.
In the 1A, they will be back. And let's get now to the south of the border. In the state of South Carolina, they will crown high school state championships this weekend. Northwestern will play in the 4A title game tomorrow. And it has been a fun ride to the big game thanks to a post-victory celebration.
The work is hard in practice at Northwestern.
I'm hard on them, but we're hard. You're going to get coached at Northwestern.
Even more than that, the expectations are high for a program that will play in their 12th state title on Saturday. So anytime there's a win, it's time to celebrate with We Win, We Dance.
I might throw it up, hit the folks real quick, hit the wall, like a little old school song. I might hit a little old school dance, Cat Daddy maybe a little bit.
Here's Coach Wofford's version of the Cat Daddy. And if you can't get down with his Cat Daddy, how about his Gritty? I think that's the Gritty.
You know, I usually let Gritty keep his feet underneath himself. Like his feet was going out and stuff. Like it was like flopping out like a little bird.
But for the most part,
they stick with what they did.
I used to be a good pop locker. Used to be able to pop and lock a little bit. Running man, a little bit of MC Hammer stuff. I'm a big worm guy. I like to worm.
Coach says he does the best worm. His son begs to differ.
If anybody asks, I'm the best on the team that does it. Even my dad says he's better. That's not true.
You know, he's trying. He's getting there. But I wouldn't say he's the best at it. I think he tries really hard, and we love him for it.
But Coach Wofford is not the only coach getting down.
What Coach Cantrell, the line coach, he did a split.
Getting down and sometimes can't get back up. But look at all the smiles on the faces. Moments that will be etched in the memories of everyone in the locker room for years to come.
And anytime we can create a good memory or create something fun or do something fun with the guys, we're going to try to do it. And, you know, if it means that I'm going to embarrass myself a little bit and, you know, the fun is in the winning.
That last attempt at the Gritty right there, that was respectable. The first one by Coach Wofford, He wasn't even close.
Well, Nate, can you show us how to gritty things? Give us the example.
I don't have. We're behind a desk right now.
We can move this desk. I don't care.
No, we can't move this desk. We unplug it. We unplug everything to move the desk. No.
A little shoulder movement, little shoulder movement. But no, you just have to laugh. But you gotta love it too, because these kids are young, they're teens, and seeing their coach, who they look up like a father figure almost, and to see him, not knowing their dances, but like just being able to
being willing to laugh at himself is the thing. Yeah. And we talk about it. It's football. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. Yep. And obviously, it's more fun when you win and you're able to dance and kind of celebrate like that. But at the end of the day, these are kids. They're playing a game for free, and as we talk about almost every week, especially in the playoffs, we don't know when their last game is going to be, so you got to celebrate every single one of these moments.
And then you can talk about the coach, like, I got a hip coach. He know what the gritty is, all these new dances.
No, there's a difference between knowing him and knowing how to do them is the thing.
Well, the thing is and Coach said this, he gets a tutorial from the players like minutes before he goes in there, because, they started this last year. They won a lot of games last year. They won 13 this year. At some point, you're going to run out of your old school dance and it's like, hey, guys, what can I do? And he'll get the little intro into the gritty, and he tried it. He did the cat daddy and whatever. But, I mean, to me, is them, they're bonding with their team. Yeah. And that made that team that much stronger, that, coach will do this and other coaches will do this and they'll allow us to do this and we can just have they're bonding, and it's creating memories that they will cherish for the rest of their life. Yeah, they're going to remember the wins and the losses, but what you're doing in that locker room, I can remember a lot of things that we did in the locker rooms, the laughs, the jokes, and all the stuff that we used to do in the locker room. Those are the things more so that I remember now than if we beat, Perry or whoever, I've forgotten a lot of those things, but what we had, the fun we had on the bus rides and in the locker room are the things that you remember. So that's what I really take from that. Also, and I brought this up with Siobhan earlier, how much do we, it's a deeper meaning, how much do we celebrate our victories? Because we work hard. This is something that you can take from high school into your life. You're going to work hard in everything you do, and when you have that success, do you celebrate it? So we should all be celebrating ourselves when we have those victories in life, even more. So I ain't mean to,
bringing the good word on this Friday night.
Pull out my little handkerchief and open up a Bible and start preaching. But hey, it's something for us to learn.
I do need to say that we were talking about it during the package. We both take offense to them calling the cat daddy an old school dance. That thing was new when I was in high school.
I like to feel like I'm still young.
So I didn't need that reminder tonight, but other than that, great stuff out of them. When we also talk about the bonding, the best teams that we see have success on the field, they like each other off the field. And so when you see that kind of chemistry, you can't coach that, you can't teach that kind of chemistry. It just has to be there, and it looks like Northwestern certainly has that.
Well, I'll be the first to admit, I guess I'm that old dude that had to look up the cat daddy and the folk, hit the folk. I was like, I know what it is. I've seen it, but I didn't know what it was called. So when I looked it up, I was like, oh, that's what that's called. So I'm that old dude. Yes, I guess.
So was it a remake of what you used to do back in your days?
Nah. I mean, they all kind of, it's it's somewhat, yeah. I ain't too old. I wasn't doing the robot. I ain't that old. I mean, we weren't doing the bump. That was a little bit before me.
Oh man.
But I guess I'm old. I'm sorry. A big reason the Trojans dance is because of the enormous expectations at Northwestern. This is the 12th time they will play in the state championship game. They have won 5 times, with their last coming in 2015. After that title, there were a few lean seasons, including a 4-7 season in 2018 and a 2-8 in 2019. That was Coach Wofford's first year. But this senior class has worked hard to get this program back to its high standard, and that is what is so pleasing for head coach Paige Wofford.
I get emotional if I think about it too much, because I think about, this is my first senior class. I got here 4 years ago, so these guys that are seniors now were freshmen when I got here, and they were coming off a couple of years at Northwestern that were not acceptable to Northwestern standards. We had a rough couple years. My first year was rough, and we talked a lot about faith and believing, and even though you can't see the results, just know that it's going to get better. So for this senior class and these kids to come through and play for a state championship, or Northwestern's 12th state championship, they'll be remembered, and their class will be remembered, and they're a huge piece of the foundation of what's to come, in the future here at Northwestern.
But what about the team that Northwestern is playing tomorrow? That is South Florence, and they are pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. A perfect 14-0, averaging 46 points per game, led by quarterback Lenora Sellers. And as you can see, the dude is just massive. He's 6'3", 220 pounds, and a finalist for Mr. Football in the state of South Carolina. For the season, he has thrown for over 2,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. He has also rushed for 16 more scores. He's going to be a handful to slow down. Notice we said slow down and not stop.
He's a challenge just by himself, and when you put his receivers with him and his running backs with him, that offensive line they've got, then that offense is nobody's stopped them yet. So, that's going to be a challenge for us just to slow them down. I mean, we're not talking about shutouts. We're talking about can we get them to punt, and defensively, they've got an outside linebacker number 4 that, is all state, all region, all everything, and he should be. He's really good, and they kind of focus a little bit on him and getting him to spots where he's going to make a play, and he makes the plays. Maybe I'll dance every first down. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe we'll dance if we make him punt. Maybe we'll have a dance on the sideline because that'll be a little moral victory in and of itself.
Coach, we would love to see that every first down. All right, so tomorrow, this is what we play for. At 7, Northwestern will take on South Florence. That's the 4A state title game down in Columbia at Benedict College.
Yeah, Coach, and I asked them all, do you have a dance that you've thought about that you're going to do tomorrow? One of them said, I'm going to do the backflip. My man, Cameron Van said he was going to maybe do something with the little shoulders, in it.
Hold on. One more time. What was that?
A little shoulder in that one, like that, little
shoulder lean.
But Coach was like, I'm not thinking about anything. Just like I'll dance if we can stop them, or we can get them to punt, or when we get a first down. It's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough game for them. South Florence beat South Point earlier this year. So I'm sure Coach Wofford has had a conversation with some of the coaches over at South Point and say, hey, can y'all give us some pointers on what we need to be doing? But it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. Cam's going to go down. He'll be covering it. So we'll have complete highlights and a wrap-up tomorrow night in the sports. So good luck to Northwestern as they head down to take on South Florence in the 4A state title game. Time to take our final break here on the show. When we come back, we put a wrap on the 2022 season.
WBTV's First Alert Radar Network now has exclusive live X-band radar data. No one else in town has this kind of technology or this clear of a view. 10 times the resolution of the standard radars that are shooting into the Charlotte metro area. Our new radar is going to allow us to drill down into your neighborhood, your street, and give you as much advance notice as we can possibly give. I think this new radar fits right in with our First Alert promise, giving you advance notice of changing weather.
She may not feel it yet, but she's got this. You've kept up with all the changes, the added safety measures. You've even read every email the school sent all summer long. Well, most of them. But you've also watched WBTV News this morning to stay on top of it all. And you got her here. And now, she sees it. Thanks for always being on her side and for trusting us to be on yours.
WBTV's First Alert Radar Network now has exclusive live X-band radar data. No one else in town has this kind of technology or this clear of a view. 10 times the resolution of the standard radars that are shooting into the Charlotte metro area. Our new radar is going to allow us to drill down into your neighborhood, your street, and give you as much advance notice as we can possibly give. I think this new radar fits right in with our First Alert promise, giving you advance notice of changing weather.
She may not feel it yet, but she's got this. You've kept up with all the changes, the added safety measures. You've even read every email the school sent all summer long. Well, most of them. But you've also watched WBTV News this morning to stay on top of it all. And you got her here. And now, she sees it. Thanks for always being on her side and for trusting us to be on yours.
All right, here we go with the matchups for the state championships next week. And in the first time in my 25 years, we only have one state championship game with a team from our area 15-0 Northern Nash versus 15-0 East Lincoln. That's the 3A state title game at 7 p.m. at NC State next Saturday night, Carter Finley Stadium. That's it. And that's, for me, that's weird. 25 years and this is the first time we only have one state championship. How things have changed. Normally we'll have a couple of Charlotte schools, and for a while it was 8 state championship games. It was subdivided 4A, big 4A, small 4A, and on down the list. So we would have 5, 6 every Saturday and Friday. Not this time around. So it's a new day. So we'll see we'll see if this lasts. Now, it could be back next year and we'll have, one in all 4 because Draughn will be in the 1A state title game. I'm trying to make up for it.
Don't sleep on the 1A teams now.
I'm trying to make up for it, but good luck to East Lincoln. Just like I said, I started talking about it. I just want to have a little bit more time with it. For East Lincoln to go from 2A to 3A. And this was in this reclassification, this cycle. So just maybe a couple years ago, they were still a 2A school. So they flipped their athletes and got them bigger, and they got more guys that are on 2 platooning. That's the difference when you say 4A to 2A, 4A to the 3A, the 3A to 2A. It's the amount of guys who got the 2 platoon and play both offense and defense. As you keep going up, you need to have less of those athletes because you're going to wear out, because those bigger schools that have more athletes, they're going to play just one guy one way, and they're going to stay fresher than the guys who are playing both offense and defense. So they've been able to flip that over at East Lincoln very quickly, and here they are in the state title game. Very impressive right there. Congratulations to East Lincoln Mustangs. A job well done, guys. I know y'all will represent next week up there at Carter Finley Stadium. With that said, this is a wrap for this season. Cam, as a first-timer here, what's your impressions of Football Friday Night and just being here in North Carolina covering high school football?
It's just a different game up here is the thing. I mean, I'm still kind of relatively new in the sports broadcast game. I'd probably done 4 high school football seasons before I got here, and I don't think I've ever seen the interconnectedness of the community. Like, anytime I'd go to a game of the week, I would have people asking me about the game I did last week or the game I'm going to next week, and asking about teams in a different county all the way over. Like, the people here love their high school football. And that's what made it fun every single Friday night, is I would always have people who recognize the show and love watching it. And shout out to everyone who watches and allows us to do what we do. But the community behind it, I think, is what makes it super special. And again, these kids, they put in so much work. The high school football here in North Carolina, it's a different kind of breed of it is the thing. Like, it's hard to explain, but you just have a different kind of an atmosphere and energy around it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a shame we only have one team that made it to the state championships, but again, it shows you how good the other teams have been, that they're all kind of knocking each other off on the way to the top. But enjoyed the heck out of this season. Thankfully, got one more week next week. I was talking with Coach Lubowitz over at East Lincoln. He said the goal, like, state championship, yeah, but they just want one more week of practice with their teams. And I just want one more week of games to cover, because I love this community so much. And so we both kind of got our wish there. We got one more week to talk about some high school football before it's officially basketball season. Yep. And so it's been great. I've enjoyed the heck out of this season.
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, this is my second year. And just, Cam, just kind of going off you, high school football, I mean, it's amazing what sports can do. Nate, last year we were coming, a weird season. It was COVID, and then we finally got a full season this year, kind of that normalcy back. So it's amazing to see, especially for the students and the student athletes, just to see them play out their dreams. There's nothing beats that, seeing these kids being able to play out their dreams on Friday night, the seniors going to play on Saturdays. And again, congrats to all the seniors. You realize what you've done in high school that will carry over to college, and hopefully those who get the chance to play in the pros, and it starts right here on Friday night. So it's just amazing to see this, the highlights, and seeing the big plays that we've talked all the time through these past couple weeks, like those catches, the throws. I'm like, dog, man, did he just throw that? It's just amazing again, to see the athletes here.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I want to do is I want to shout out some teams that that we don't normally talk about, that we talked about this year. Christ the King and Community School of Davidson and Draughn. And Forest Hills is back. They out of nowhere, here comes Forest Hills again. It's those type of stories that I really enjoy. Yeah, I love Chambers and Huff and Mallet Creek and Weddington and South Point and Kings Mountain and Crest and Shelby, the teams we normally talk about every year. But Burns in South Carolina, in North Carolina, Burns who just lost tonight. Those stories of redemption and those programs who struggled for a while or maybe hadn't even been on the scene yet, for them to come up and you see them start to play better and, they're getting the pub, they're getting the love. And that's what I really love is just to see those teams come back and finally show up and play well. And hopefully there's some longevity there with those programs. So congratulations to those teams that, won region titles for the first time and made the regional finals for the first time. Those are the stories that I love, and to hear the new players and the new teams and the players. Because I'm gonna transfer that to the college game, because tomorrow we're gonna see Drake May, who was at Myers Park, and now he's a freshman at North Carolina and is the ACC Player of the Year. So as you see these fresh new names and these faces, and we'll see them for the next 2 to 3 years. Yep. Who knows where they're gonna be 3 years from now? Yep. They could be the SEC Player of the Year, the ACC Player of the Year. That's the type of talent. Going back to your point. That's the kind of talent that we have in this area. Yep. So that's why, I'm a little bit shocked because we have so many great teams in this area that we just got so used to having these teams in the state championship every year because the talent level is so deep in this area. But going back to a lot of them beat each other up and take each other out, and here we go at the end, and Greensboro Grizzlies in the state title game, and everybody like, well, where was Huff and Chambers and all those guys?
It's a gauntlet, man.
They took themselves out. So, that's what I appreciate about this area and this brand of high school football. The talent level is deep, and the next crop is coming. So we'll see how East Lincoln does next Friday. We'll see how the Trojans do tomorrow down in Columbia. Good luck to both of them as they get ready to win state championships. That's it for Football Friday Night this year, the 40th season. I want to personally thank, and we want to personally thank you for watching and supporting this show each and every week in this 40th season. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all the time we have today. Have a good weekend. We'll see you in August for the next edition of Football Friday Night.